Hello friends, welcome. In this video I'm going to create a Laravel Rest API. So let's open my terminal. I have installed Laravel installer and also the Laravel Valet. So to create a project, I want to say, so let's zoom it. And I'm going to say, first let's navigate in my sites directory. And then because I have installed the Laravel installer, I can say just Laravel new and the name, and I'm going to name it REST API. And now, also because I have installed the Laravel Valet, I can open this project in the browser by just adding the name REST API.test like this, but we need to create the project first. And now if I refresh, yeah, we have the project. Good. Let's open this project in the VS Code. So cd in the REST-API and open with the VS Code. Okay, as you can see here in the .env, in the database name, we have REST_API based on the name. And you can go and create the database. I have created that. So I'm going to create the migration and model for the skill. I'm going to create a skills CRUD. So let's say artisan. And I have alias here for the PHP artisan, just a artisan make model. And I'm going to name it skill-m for migration. Okay, now let's open that migration inside the database, migration, the last one. And I'm going to add here the name and the slash. So let's say, and it's going to be string, both of them. So I'm going to say $table string for the name. Now let's copy this, paste down there and change the name to be Slack. Okay, save, close this one. And if I run now the artisan migrate, and I'm going to say fresh here. Yeah, we have the skills table, as you can see. I'm going to open also the table plus just to show you. So let's open the REST API, click open. And here we have skills. Right now is empty. Okay. Then let's go inside the app models, inside the skill model. I'm going to add here a protected $fillable is going to be equal with an array of our fields, which are the name in our case and the slash. Okay, let's save. And this is the same typical Laravel project. Now, because we are going to use API, I'm going to create a controller and routes, and the routes we are going to create inside the API.php, not in the web.php. Here is where you can register web routes for your application, and in the API, here is where you can register the API routes for your application. So we need API, we are going to register here. And let's remove this. Let's create the controller first. So I'm going to say artisan make controller. And I'm going to add the controller inside the API folder. And also I'm going to create the version 1 folder. And then let's say skill controller. Okay. Then in the API now let's register the route. And I'm going to say here a route group. And I'm going to add a prefix for the version 1. So prefix v1, and then let's add the closure. And inside this closure is going to be all our API roads for the version 1. So in our case, we have only the skills. We're going to have only the skills for right now. So let's say road, and we can create a road post, get, and so on one by one. Or if because we want to have a resource, we can use the API resource here and say skills and add the skill controller class here. Like this, hit save. Now, if I open the terminal and say artisan road list, hit enter. As you can see, we have get skills and we have this URL API slash version 1 slash skills. And the API is coming because we have registered the road inside the api.php. All the roads here is going to have this API in the URL. Then the version 1 is coming because we added the prefix, and also then we have the skills. Okay, good. Now let's go in the controller, and I'm going to create the first method because, as you can see here, we need the index, store, show, update, destroy. Now let's create the index method. And here I'm going to return response JSON. And I'm going to say here an string skill index like this. If I save, now I'm going to use Insomnia as a client for this project. So let's open Insomnia here and let's create a new request. The method is going to be get. I'm going to name this skill index request. Now, as I said, I have the Laravel Valet. I'm going to use this for URL. And let's go to Insomnia, paste that in. But we need the API slash version 1 slash skills, as you can see here. So let's paste that in now. And if I say send, you can see we have 200 OK and skill index, what we return in the controller. Good. And you can see it's not that difficult to create a REST API with Laravel. Now let's store a new skill, because right now we don't have skills here. So to create a skill, we are going to create a new request. The method is going to be post. I'm going to copy the URL because it's the same, just here we have post. Now let's go and create the store method in the controller, because the store method is for the storing a new skill. So let's say method store, and we can use the request default request, or we can create a custom one, the same we used in the initial projects with Laravel. So this is very good. We can use also custom here in the API. Let's go and create one. So I'm going to say artisan make request, and let's name it store skill request. Okay, and I'm going to use that one here. So store skill request as a request. And now we can say here, call the skill model, and make sure you have imported up here. Say create, and we need to add here the request validated data. Only the validated data is going to be here. Now, what is the validated data? Let's go to this one, skill store skill request, change the authorized to be true. And we need to validate the name and the flag. So let's say name. And for me, the name is going to be required. I'm going to add the minimum and maximum values. So let's say minimum of 3 characters and maximum of 20. For the slug, I'm going to say the slug is going to be required and is going to be unique. Unique to the skills table, and the column is slug. Except the ID I'm going to remove for now. Let's save and let's close this. Now, after we creating the skill, I'm going to return skill created like this. Let's go and let's see now what we are going to get in the Insomnia. If I just send request here, we have 200, and that's okay. Maybe you say, why is that okay? We need to go in the headers and add headers here. I'm going to add the accept to be application JSON, and also let's add a content type to be also application JSON. Now let's send again that scale. And now we have 422 message, the slug field is required. And why is only the slug is required? You can see here we have a dot, let's add comma. And now click send. Yeah, the name field is required and the slug field is required. Very good. Let's go to the body and let's say I'm going to add a JSON here. We need the name, which is going to be, let's say, Laravel. And for the slug, I'm going to say also Laravel with camel case. So let's say Laravel like this. If I send the request, now we have skill created. And also if we go in the database and refresh, we have the skill. Very good. If I change that to be Vue.js, also Vue.js here, maybe like this, click send, skill created again, and refresh, we have Vue.js. Very good. So we created the skill. Now let's update that skill. Let's create a new HTTP request, and this post, let's rename that to be skill store request. This one is going to be skill update request. The method is going to be put or patch, what you like. So let's say put for now. Let's copy this URL, go to the put and paste that in. Now we need the ID here. Okay, I'm going to give it the ID 1, which is the Laravel. Now let's go here and create the update method. So let's say method update, and we need inside here the request, and I'm going to use the same request. So let's say store skill request $request, and we need the skill ID, or let's use the route model binding by adding the skill $skill here. Very good. And now we can say $skill update the request validated here. And also let's return response JSON and say not created now, but updated. So skill updated. Let's save and let's go here in the headers, the same add accept to be application JSON and also add the content type to be application JSON. Like this, go to the body, select the body to be JSON, and let's say the name I'm going to say is going to be Laravel dot dot dot, and the slug is going to be also Laravel dot dot dot, like this. Now let's send a request. Skill updated. Let's go here and let's refresh this. As you can see, we updated the name in the slug. Very good. Now let's say I want to update only the name, not the slug. I'm going to say like this and click send. Oh, we have 422. The slug has already been taken because we say in the request the slug is required and also is unique to the skills and the name slug. And that's it, okay, but it's okay only for the store method, not for the update method. And we use the same request for both, for the store and for update. We can create another request, or we can use that, and instead of something like this, we can say, let's add comma here, dot, and I won't accept this skill ID. So it's going to be unique except this skill ID. Let's save and let's run again now. The same, send request, and now we have skill updated. And if we go and refresh, we can see the name is updated, but the slug no. Let's update also the slug here, only the slug, Laravel, and refresh. As you can see, update only the name and refresh. Yeah, that's okay. This is one way, or another way is by I'm going to comment this and say the slug is going to be required, and I'm going to add the rule here. Sorry, rule. Import the rule from Illuminate validation, and I'm going to say rule unique. Let's use unique here, unique to the skills. So here is the table, as you can see, and now I want to ignore this skill. So let's ignore $sign this skill, and let's save and let's see how it's going to look, how it's going to work. Now I want to show you, if I refresh, we have dot 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 in the name and the Laravel slug. And I want to remove the name here and say send, skill updated. We have 200, and if I go here and refresh, the name updated and the slug is remaining. So it's up to you what you like, something like this, or using the rule unique like this. Okay, let's close this. And now we have the updated method. What we need other in here, get, post, put. Let's create one more for the show. So let's rename this to be skill show request. Let's copy this URL from here and paste it. The method is going to be get. Okay, and let's go in the VS Code and create that method. I'm going to create after the index, and let's say method here show. We need here the skill, so let's use route model binding skill $skill, and I'm going to return for now just the skill like this. And let's save and let's send the request. As you can see, we have an object with ID name slag created at and updated at. What we have in here, ID name slag created at and updated at. But maybe we don't want to send all the fields we have to the front end, to the client. For that, with Laravel is very easy. We can send JSON data by creating a resource. So let's go to the iterm and I'm going to say artisan make resource, and I'm going to add this resource inside the version 1, and let's say skill resource like this. Hit enter. Now instead of returning the skill, I'm going to return this skill resource we just created, and let's say return the skill resource we created, but I want to return the new instance of this one. So let's say new skill resource, and I'm going to add $skill here as an argument to this skill resource. And let's save. Let's go and make a get request. And as you can see, now we have an object, and inside that we have the data with an object that has the same ID, name, slag, and created at and updated at. But as I said in the previous, maybe we don't want to show all the fields in the front end. For that, we created this skill resource. Now let's go here and let's say I want only to show the ID, name, and the slag. Here when we have the, and maybe let's see here. Okay. And here when we have a return parent, the array, and add in the request, I'm going to specify an array what we want to return. So I want to return the ID, which is going to be $sign this ID. And this is the skill we added in here. Then I want to show also the name, which is going to be $sign this name, and also the slag, which is going to be $sign this slag. Let's save, and if I make a send request, a get request again, yeah, we have a data just with ID, name, and the slag. And I think this is very good. Now, also, if you don't want the slag and you want the full URL for this skill, we can say, let's cut this and say route skills show and pass here the skill slag like this. And let's save and let's go and make a send request now. As you can see, we have this HTTP REST API test API /version 1 and so on. Okay, and now you can play here with, for example, not slug, but say URL. And let's save, click send. And yeah, we get the URL here. Maybe not name, but let's say skill name. And as you can see, we can play with that. Okay, now let's go in the skill index, because here we just say skill index, but I want to display all the skills. And for that, in the skill controller, here we can say return this skill resource, but now not a new instance, but a collection of that. So let's say skill resource collection static method, and add here all the skills. So let's say skill all, like this. Click save. Let's go and let's say send. And now we have an object with data which has an array of all the skills. And right now we have only two. So we have one here and one here. And that is okay. We can say also here paginate. Let's say paginate 1. Send the request. And now you can see we have paginate 1. So we are going to show only one for the page. And we have a data. We have an object, only one skill. Then we have links. First, last, previous, and next. First URL, last URL, and the next URL. Then we have a meta here, current page, from, last, and also we have the links. For the previous, we have the URL, and right now it's null because we are in the first page. Active is false. Then we have the URL for the current page, which is page 1. We have a page 2, and also then the page 2 we have next, but is false if we are in the second page. And then we have a path per page. We show only one, and totally which are 2. So we have all the meta we need to create a pagination, as you can see. And that is one way. Another way is by creating a collection. So let's go in the item, and instead of creating a resource, I'm going to create a skill collection. Very good. And now in here, I'm in the index. I'm not going to return the skill resource collection, but I'm going to return new skill collection and add that one, and click send. We have the same thing. So the skill collection is going to do the same thing the skill resource static collection method does. Good. Now the last thing, we need to delete the skill. Let's create the request, and I'm going to name skill delete request. The method is going to be delete. Let's copy the URL, paste it here. Let's go and create the method in the controller by saying method destroy now, and we need the skill. So let's say skill $sign skill. Let's delete the skill. So skill delete. And then I'm going to return a response, or we can return another page, but I'm going to say skill deleted. Let's save, and if I make we have the skill 1, so let's say skill 2 for now. Come here and refresh, we have 1 and 2 as you can see, and I'm going to delete this. So let's go and click send request, skill deleted, we have 200, and if I refresh, yeah, let's delete the first one, send request, skill deleted again, and refresh, we don't see any skills. And that's it, how we can create a Laravel REST API, get, post, put, patch, get a single one, and delete. Here we have the controller with index, show, store, update, and destroy, the resource, and we have created the skill resource, skill collection, and store skill request. And that's it, how we can create a Laravel REST API. Hope you enjoy, and if you like, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like the video, and see you in the next video, friends. All the best.